how the Indians were cheated, what kind of offers they were made, how many were actually literally abducted, what was promised, and what really happened, and how badly they were treated. I was particularly traumatized by the story of your grandmother, who first took her brother, I think, to the doctor and he cut off his leg instead of
Okay.
treating that wound. And then she took one of her sons and he chopped off his tongue. I mean, could you please describe how it all started for Indians there? What is the trauma that's being carried through generations? Could you please describe that? Most Indians of my generation or younger ones have no clue, and they think Caribbean is all about cricket teams and Naipaul like very successful PIOs. In fact, that's the first response I got when I sent information. One of my friends said, "But so many of them successful writers, entrepreneurs, they're rich, like Naipaul." The best people could get. I was stunned to read. They were lucky if they could have one simple meal a day. I, I mean, actually, black slaves were perhaps treated better. They were not so underfed and starved, as seems to be the fate of Indians in the Caribbean. Could you please take over from here?
So when slavery was in its heyday, there eventually emerged the abolitionist movement in Europe, especially in England, and later on in America. So they took up the rise of the blacks and how they were being treated. But this was not the case for the Indians. We remained neglected. And so it was only until the beginning of the 1900s when the freedom movement was gaining momentum in India that Indians there said, for too long, Indians from here have been treated badly overseas and no one has been bothering with them. So for a very long time, indentureship lasted at least 80 years. So we can say for a century this was ongoing, and we were overlooked. So the focus has been on what took place in India during that period of time, but not here. So as Professor Kumar was saying, on paper, the British spelled out laws for indentureship, which would appear that it should have been very different from slavery. And if, as a historian, one were to research indentureship, they would look at the facts, and rightfully so, and say, well, the British were being more benevolent in this case. But here's where, when you look at the oral histories and you speak to descendants or you speak to the living members who were part of the indentureship system here, you realize that no, this was not the case at all.